This is Very Bold Radio and Podcast with your host, Steve Teel, bringing encouragement through God's Word and through inspiring interviews. Go to verybold.com for information and updates, and email steve@verybold.com. And now here's your host, Steve Teel.
Steve Teel, Very Bold Radio and Podcast. Man, am I fired up. I feel chills right now just saying this. I am fired up. I get to talk to Coach Joey Saxe. This guy, man, remember I grew up, I'm an old guy, so I'm going to use an old word. This guy is a stud. That's for my generation. If you're listening, this guy is a stud. Now, if you're one of my guys like Matty G and you're listening, I'm going to say this guy's a dog. I mean, he is a great leader, a leader of men, leader of people, a great guy, great heart, just great integrity. And I am so blessed and honored to know Joey Saxe. So I'm going to have him say hi, and then I'm going to give some more background. How you doing, Coach Saxe?
Man, doing great, Steve. Just excited to be here with you. Always wanted to be a part of the podcast and the show. And so just thank you for inviting me on.
Oh, man, we should have had you on a long time ago. So it's about time we got you on. And I know we tried to get one in San Antonio, and life's been great with complications, making a little bit different. So why don't you tell the people what is going on, and then I'll give you some of the background. I'll give them some of the background. I got to know you through Akins High School in Austin. It's one of the largest 6A schools in Austin ISD. You were associated with them, part of their staff for 10 years, head coach for how long? How long were you head coach?
Yes, I was with Akins for 15 years total.
15 years. Wow. Okay.
The head coach for the last 5 years. And
okay.
Held every title, during that reign that you possibly could, from, girls basketball.
I forgot that.
Baseball assistant, basketball assistant, head track, offensive coordinator, head wrestling coach. It was
what?
Yeah, I know. You wear a lot of hats at some places, and just enjoyed the whole time there. And I got without Akins High School, I wouldn't have been able to meet you, and got that relationship going. So just grateful for my time there, and then was blessed with the opportunity to get the position as the assistant athletic director for Corpus Christi ISD now. So just excited for the new role, and continue that path.
You've hit the ground running. I could tell just from your life. And if I reach out to you, you're like, I'm over here, I'm over there. There's like so many things going on. But man, we're very excited. I remember when you told me, and I'm going to tell people some more background about Peanut Butter Bowl and what you have meant to it, and the growth of Peanut Butter Bowl and the growth of feeding more people that are in need. But when I got to come up to the last game that you coached for the Akins Eagles, and at halftime, you guys were rolling, man. I can't even remember how many points that scoreboard. It looked like a Christmas tree. There were so many numbers up there, so many lights up there. But you told me at halftime, you said, I'm about to break your heart. I said, what's going on? You said, I've taken this new position with Corpus Christi ISD. And I told you, you're not breaking my heart. I mean, I'm so honored and blessed to know you. And I know God has great, great things for you. And I know the impact that you had at Akins, so many kids. And I want to share just with people, and I'll come back to Peanut Butter Bowl. And I know I'm doing a lot of chatting right now. We're going to let you talk in a minute, but I got to also come up they threw kind of a farewell surprise party for you and for your wife, Joy, and for your son, Easton. They were there, of course. And, man, I was blessed to be there to see these kids and the impact that you had on them. I mean, they just so, I don't know how many kids were there. It was so many, but just the love that they had for you was just, it really built me up, and just it makes me want to remind young coaches and older coaches, everything in between, like, you are making a difference. You are making a difference, and it may not feel like it some days, but you are making a difference in those relationships. They really matter. Of course, famous kind of quote. I don't even remember the exact quote, but Billy Graham is known, the evangelist Billy Graham is known for saying coaches will impact more kids in 1 year than most people will in their entire lives. And I'm blessed and honored to work with and know a lot of great coaches, and I see that, and it's just phenomenal. And I hold up Joey Saxe. I mean, man, he is special in the impact that he makes because you really care. So, what was, I'll come back to Peanut Butter Bowl. What were the emotions of the day for you when all these kids come pouring out, including Cagle, the famous Cagle?
Yeah, it was just, man, this whole year has been just, it's been great. But it was, I don't want to say like bittersweet, but
Yeah.
it has been because, when you pour in, 15 years of service into a school, and
Yeah.
like I've coached some of these kids, brothers, sisters, like I've known some
Yeah.
of them since they were in kindergarten. It's like, and doing some of the outreach work that we did, in the community. It was a very, very special place. And so,
Mm,
we were kind of mid-season. You came down, we were
yeah.
rolling, we were 4-0, and
4-0.
I got that call, and it was, it was, I got it on game day. It was like not a distraction,
Wow.
right? And so
Right.
but it was something I had been working very, very hard for and towards, and I've always been very transparent with my players, and
Yeah.
and one thing I always told them, I was like, this is none of ours like forever. Like we're all going to go special places, and we're going to be a part of each other's journey and
Yeah.
getting right. And so as your coach, I'm gonna help you get the best life that you want. Like I'm gonna get you opportunities, you know,
Wow.
because this is not your forever. Like you're destined to go do great things. And
Yeah.
like I'd always been transparent with them. Is like, hey, one day I want to become an athletic director. I'm gonna be your head coach. I don't want to coach anywhere else. Like you guys are my guys. You guys
Yeah.
are girls. Like y'all are my people. And but I was like, but I do want to become an athletic director one day. And so, when we got that win, and I kind of had to share that with everybody that following Monday,
Mm,
because I didn't want to be distracting, stuff like
right.
that. Because, and I asked, I was like, hey, can you finish the season? Like, hey, we need the help now. And it just, in this
Mm,
profession, these jobs don't come open very often. And then to
yeah.
get that opportunity to go serve at that level, it was just, something that I knew, God was calling me to go do, so to say.
Yeah. Mm,
Lots of years of hard work, lots of grind behind the scenes that, people don't see,
right.
the nights and, grad school, and just it all kind of, helped, get to that moment. And, there were a lot of no's between, those jobs where, it's
Mm,
like, and that door didn't open, that door didn't open just for this reason, and
yeah.
so it was hard to kind of stay biased to everybody, so to say, but
Yeah.
they were mixed emotions too, because, we had such a great thing going, but I told them that doesn't stop just because, one person's not here, because y'all have
Yeah.
put work, and with that opportunity, one of my good assistants, who was my defensive coordinator, that stepped into the role as the head coach, like without me leaving, he doesn't get blessed with that opportunity to become
That's
a,
true.
and so that was something that I was very, very excited for him about.
Yeah. Mm,
Another leader gets to step up, that's
that's
what
right.
the whole thing is. And it allowed kids like Dylan Cagle to, maybe have a bigger role that, sometimes they weren't ready for, because it's like,
Wow.
um,
Yeah.
Coach, I'm not ready for you to leave. And I'm like, oh, I'm not ready either, bud. But, this is both of our time to rise to, the
Yeah.
occasion today. And so, but yeah, man, like to get the surprise, I was in my office, and then I was told not to come out for whatever reason, right? I knew they were up to something, right? And then I think Dylan comes into my office. He's like, Coach, we need you to come to the gym. There's a fight going on. I was like, yeah, the body language not matching with the tone of this message, but
Right.
let me go see what's going on. And I remember, like, I go around the corner, and like the lights are off in the gym. I'm like, this is a weird fight, right? If the
It's
lights are
so
off.
weird. Fight.
And so they, as soon as I opened the door, man, you were there. I
Right.
think had the tunnel of kids with all the signs and the streamers, and it it was just kind of like a full circle, because it just allowed me to kind of like step back for a quick second, just kind of like, man, like I did some great stuff there, and
Yeah.
very special. And at the end of the long tunnel, I see my wife, I see my boy.
Yeah.
Probably start crying in some way, but it's because we had that big wrestling light in the middle where it just kind of created,
Yeah.
circle of light. And then I saw you there too. I was like, man, these are all my people. So it was great. And I think some of the signs, there was lots of Bible passages and verses and stuff like
Mm.
that, which was really cool to see.
Yeah.
The work that we did there with FCA and um, just a lot of kids on the farewell poster that they left me. They all put their favorite Bible verse on there, and
That's so cool.
I still have it hanging in my closet. And so you
Yeah.
kind of go up there and you read through them. You're like, oh, that's really cool. Because,
Yeah.
but no, it was very, very special. But yeah, just lots of emotions and man, it was very, very hard to leave. Um, but I don't think there's ever a good time to leave, because
Right.
it's just another calling, it's just
Yeah.
opportunity to serve. And for coaches that are listening and just like, man, like how long do I stay? How long do I go?
Yeah.
Just, I think you kind of know,
Mm.
but while you're there, you give it your all and you serve. And sometimes you blink and it's 15 years, and then sometimes you blink and
Right.
it's 5 years. It's just, but God will always put you where He wants you. I truly believe that. And
Yeah.
right now He has me in Corpus. So
Yeah. Well, I've got all sorts of questions now. One of them is because you keep talking about, God and this calling and God putting you where you're supposed to be. Where did that come from? What does that look like for you?
yeah, I think growing up, I had good faith. My parents separated when I was little, and so um,
How old were you when that happened?
5, 6 years
Okay.
old there. So my grandma, she closed down shop in Pennsylvania and she moved down and started raising 3 kids as her own as my mom went back to school to become a
Oh.
teacher. And so
Oh, I
my,
see.
but my grandma, she was Irish Catholic, and so
Okay.
born in the Depression, so it was born and raised through that, and so just very old school Catholic, right? And so
Okay.
she was, it was always your prayers, always giving thanks, the Hail Marys, the Our Father. It was it all. We were going to church on Sunday, and
Yeah.
it was just such great memories. And so,
Yeah.
she raised us all the way till mom finished up her school. Then she head back to Pennsylvania, and we continued, going to church and doing all that stuff. And then she passed when I was freshman in college. But before
Okay.
then, I kind of made it my promise to her that I was going to get confirmed. I was going to, go through all the sacraments that you do as a Catholic, and
Yeah.
so I was able to do that. And then when I lost her, it was sad, but it was also I wouldn't kind of have the faith that I had without her. So
Yeah.
I continue that like kind of in her name, but of course in His name, uh,
Right.
just all the great things that I've learned through Him. But just I always say like I can do nothing without Him, but everything with Him and through
That's
Him.
good.
That was always the kind of like my motto, like when I was playing sports, when I went through my knee injury, when I was told like I'm getting cut from the team, like I'm not going to get, that scholarship, it's just like, hey, we're gonna dismiss. And so, so he's always been there, through
Yeah.
those and through sports and through life. And then
Yeah.
then through my son's NICU experience,
That's right.
that was a big one as well. And so, my son was born at 27 weeks. We spent over 100 days in that NICU and at the bottom
Wow.
of that hospital at St. David's. I don't know if I can do promos, but shout out St. David's NICU staff, man. They're the best ever. uh,
Really?
but because my son was born with 2 pounds, and so
Wow. And
I
this
saw
was how long
God.
ago? This is how long ago,
He
Easton?
was born in 2017, and
Okay.
so he was little guy. We named him Easton because he was supposed to be born on Easter weekend, but he came in January and he had his own plan. So, but yeah, man, they had a chapel at the bottom of that hospital, and I just
Mm.
remember spending a lot of time with my Bible and in and out of the Ronald McDonald House, and just trying to be a strong husband, still be a coach, trying to figure
Wow.
out what this father situation looks like, because my son's in an incubator, it's just like it
Yeah.
just wasn't like how we envisioned, right? But it was his vision, if that makes sense, and
Yeah.
perfect. We were able to connect with a lot of families and spent a lot of time with chapels and different prayer groups. And even through my time at Akins, man, we had so many different families that, sent their pastors and their youth ministers to the hospitals. Like we were just
Wow.
like every single different type of denomination, and religion just coming to us. And so like that's why it's like yes, I'm a Catholic at heart, so to say, but man, like I
Yeah.
love everybody and the religions, and as long as it's like you're loving him and he's your guide, like who am I to say otherwise?
Yeah.
That's just who I am as a person.
I love that, man. Ooh, so did your faith grow during that time? Community support, Easton, 2 pounds. My goodness. I mean, yeah, did your faith grow? Did you struggle? Were you angry with God? Like, what were you dealing with?
I never angry. I just, there's never anger, I don't think. It's just like you try to understand the why, but I don't think you'll ever understand the why,
Yeah.
It's just like, how do I respond to this? I think that's
Good.
the coach mentality in me too. It's like, here's the event, how do we respond to this? Because this is going to be the outcome, right? And so,
Yeah.
I got to go find this verse so I can share it with my wife so she can get hope and inspiration so she can get through the day and stuff like that. And
Mm,
so, but yeah, no, I definitely say it grew stronger, because we got the news a couple weeks in, they did some brain scans and stuff on my son, and they were saying, he had some grade 2 cerebral hemorrhage bleeding in the brain, right? And so
wow.
I was like, excuse me, and so I was like, well, what did that mean? They're like, well, more than likely he's going to have like cerebral palsy. And I was like,
Whoa.
okay, that wasn't even like, we're just processing everything, every
Right.
breath, that. And so I remember that night I went down to the bottom of the chapel. My wife was there to get the little handhold, kangaroo time or skin to skin stuff. And
Yeah.
you only get like 30 minutes and they got put back in. And so it just
Wow.
never missed those moments at all. But let her have her moment because she was crying. I didn't want to cry in front of her. I was scared, all
Hmm.
that stuff. But I just remember going down there, flipping through, I was reading John, the book of John, and
Yeah.
I kind of get to John 16, and there's a part in there where, kind of says, truly, truly, I say to you, ask and you shall receive. You never ask anything in my name, but ask and your joy may be full. And so my wife's name was Joy, and
Right.
it was just kind of a path that really connected to me. I just said, God, just please, just don't let my son, have, cerebral palsy. Please, like, heal the brain. It's like, please, 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 like if you heal him, he'll always know your name. He'll like,
Wow.
I was in tears. I was crying. I was like, just, it was very just, and I always, from that moment forward, I always kind of went back to that passage and just kind of kept reading it over and over and over again. And then praying after I
Mm,
would read it. And, 'cause, there's always just something that we connect with at certain times in our lives. We find that one passage that we're like, man, that's how I'm feeling right now. That was just,
yeah.
in that moment, that's how I was feeling because I would always pray for others. Like I would never really ask for anything like for me. That was just kind of
Yeah.
who I am. I'm gonna pray for you, pray for you, pray for you. Like, don't worry about me. Like, I'll be okay. That's just, who I am. But
Yeah.
we got about, I guess, 3 weeks from that news. It's like maybe 2 or 3 weeks in, and they were like, "We're gonna do some, more scans and see what happened." And because we're doing like the different therapies and all that kind of stuff, trying to like the rigid muscles and trying to massage them out and stuff like that. And I'd also like prayed over his head and stuff like that. This is my
Mm,
testimony. This is why I believe that he's the greatest of them all. But I have a passage on my phone, and I would just kind of read it, and I would just kind of massage my son's head and stuff like that.
yeah.
And then like one night at the NICU, they were like, Mr. Saxe, we need you to leave. I was like, leave? Like I just kind of got here for my time. I got like 30 minutes. And they were like, no, you're kind of like you're bleeding. And I was like, I'm what? And like I was like, okay, like I hand my son to the NICU
What?
nurse, and I go to the sink, and then sure enough, like I don't ever get nosebleeds. Like I
Yeah.
don't have that, and so okay, and so like I went down to my wife. I was like, can you look? Like I don't like anything like cut or something. I don't know. And she's like, no, everything's good, and just kind of it didn't last very long, but it was like definitely a lot for a little bit, you know. And so, but yeah, like a week later, they do the scans, and you know, the doctor comes in, and you know, we're like, you know, here's the news. Like, we'll take it as we get it, you know, and
Yeah.
whatever it is, that's our boy. We love him. Like, it's just
Right.
gonna be great no matter what. And they were like, we don't know how to say this, but the bleeds resolved themselves.
What?
I was like, what do you mean? Like, they're not there anymore? They're like, no, they're not there anymore. And I was like, so not that I never believed in him before, but like 100%, like, you know, he blessed me beyond I'll never be able to repay him.
Right.
So great, you know, and so that was just, you know, that was great. And of course, you know, we still had a long journey to go in the NICU and stuff like that, but we got over a huge hurdle. And so, you know, when you ask, like, you know, did your faith grow like tenfold, you know, and then, you know, so like, and I feel like no matter what I do, like, I would never be enough, like, to give back to them, you know,
Yeah.
so I got to make it a point every day to just let people know how great he is, you know,
Yeah.
just, so that was always
Yeah.
that I would share with my athletes because all those little babies in day one, which is where the micro preemies are, like the ones that
Mm,
have the biggest health complication, like that's where my son started, 2.5
mm,
pounds. So like if you're an athlete and you're in that weight room and you know that little 2.5 pound plate and you might think, oh, that's nothing, that's light, right? Like that was my everything, that was my world, right? And so, but
mm,
when you look around and you see all those kids, right, in that bay, and just
mm,
like you are born into this world, like you don't know how to quit, right? You are fighting for every breath.
mm,
And so, like I would always tell my athletes, like
mm.
learning to quit was something that happened long after, right? But you are born into this world not knowing how to do that. So let's know how
That's
to do it,
good.
you know? And so
Whoa.
I always took to that. And then that little 2.5 pound plate, I would always tell my athletes as I was there, I was like, hey guys, you know, because every time like the weekly check-in, the monthly check-in, because I was like kind of going back and forth from the hospital. And so I kind of told them like right now, my son's 2.5, like this is what he is.
Mm.
And like don't discredit it, you know. So they would all like put an extra 2.5 pound plate on the weights each time they would go to
Come.
and so I was like, well, let's make sure we put it on both sides because you know, like you know, not that 2.5 is going to make or break, but 2.5 became 5, 5 became 10, 10 became 15, 15
Mm.
became, you know, where he is now, 9 years old, and you
Right.
know, playing soccer, and you would never know, but
Right. You would
and,
not. Yeah. AB honor roll, select soccer. Spoiler, he's
he's
doing
doing great.
great.
Everything's in his name, and you know, that was kind of, you know, making sure that he knows how great he is, you know, taking him to church and, you know, praying every night and just, you know, teaching him how to, you know, give glory to him because, you know, he truly blessed us with that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and then coming to Corpus where literally it means body of Christ.
Yes. It
It's
sure
a
does.
great place to be. And you know, there's a lot of great churches here, and you know, we got FCA here, we got the Field of Faith going on that we
Great.
have at our stadium, and so it's just been great. But yeah, no, definitely faith grew tremendously in that.
Yeah. So tell me, just kind of how you interpret, because you're connecting, like you were praying over him and you get this bleed. Like, are you interpreting like I mean, just tell me kind of did that for you like kind of represent when Jesus was doing a miracle? Like,
To
or
me,
it's okay if
yes,
it's
but
not.
I
I'm just
mean,
trying.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. You know, it was
Yeah.
just one of those things because like
Yeah.
with my prayers, you know, like you know, I just said, God, you know, please take the pain away from my son. Just give it to me. Like he doesn't
Oh, okay.
do this. Like he hasn't just give me his hurt and like he will always know how great you are in his name. And like
Okay.
always kind of pray that and you know, and then like some people are like, no, it might have been just this. Like you can say whatever you want. Like I like
Oh, yeah.
saw how great, you know, he answered my prayers and my son's prayer, my wife's prayer. Like it's just the greatest miracle that I've seen him do, and I've seen him work a lot of great miracles. I've seen him
Right.
change lives. I've seen, you know, kids get out the neighborhood in his name.
Yeah.
I've seen so much good work because you have to just take time to recognize it, you know. So
Yeah.
it's because all the greatness that he does is there.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm so glad. Oh, wow. Yeah. So, this is a miracle. So usually when the doctors try to explain miracles, they don't use the word miracle usually. It's just kind of disallowed.
It resolved itself.
That's what they said.
It resolved itself. And then yeah, we had, one of the greatest NICU doctors there in Austin. He said he's never seen it before. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm glad he was able to say that with my kid.
Right. Right. And that's the language when they start saying stuff like that. Like, I've never seen that before. And sometimes doctors or nurses, will say, like, well, it's unexplainable. I cannot explain it. So, man, what a beautiful thing. Somehow I did not make that connection as you were first telling the story that you were saying, Jesus, give me his pain. I mean, like, that's incredible, Joey. That's amazing.
Oh man, well, he is, and so like I
Yeah,
said,
he is.
all the glory to him, and I'm just
Yeah.
grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah, yeah, wow. Okay, well, just building off that, that faith. I know, like when you were at Akins, you brought in FCA, you brought in Coaches Outreach. I remember kind of forgot all the details, but I know Coaches Outreach, which is this great ministry that I do some things for them with Bible studies and um, an incredible ministry, but I know they featured you somehow, but I just can't remember exactly why, what the story was, but they like put up a video of you. I can't remember if it was you and Joy or just you. Remind me, I'm old. I need those young guys like Joey Saxe taking.
Oh man, yeah, no, it was great, man. I had just gotten the head job, and just trying to put things in place for my school that I wanted to see different, and
Yeah,
so you always kind of want to do it when you're an assistant coach, but you gotta wait, right? Because you always need
right.
help out that head coach's vision. And so we had FCA, and we had Young Life going on, because I was just always trying to give my kids opportunities, like
Yeah,
hey, FCA will take care of you during school, but then outside of school, hey, there's Young Life, like let's go. So just trying
that's
to connect
great.
them to as many places as we could, because I mean, that's what it's all about, And so
Yeah,
but yeah, no, we had coaches outreach, and so like I was doing a back to school staff meeting, and then I see this guy pacing in the hallway, and so I'm like, maybe he needs me. I don't know, because he kind of kept pacing back and forth. I'm like, don't recognize this guy, and it's not like
yeah.
a normal school hour. And so like we kind of finished up my meeting, and then so I step out there, and I'm like, can I help you? He's like, I'm looking for Coach Saxe, and I was like, well, here I am. He's like, I'm Marty Secord, and so he's the Texas State Coaches Outreach representative, and so he does a lot of the connections with coaches and stuff. And he had happened to be in the area, and I guess he was at Dripping Springs or one of the schools, and he was like, hey, is there any guys in the area that I need to go see that I don't know yet? And so
Cool.
yeah, Coach Zimmerman told him to go to Akins High School and see, and I was like,
Wow.
and so. Um, so I get to talking with Marty for a good while, and he was just kind of taken back by my story with just everything I was trying to do for the kids, and just kind of going above and beyond, so to say, which to me was
Yeah, you
normal
do.
in the eyes of somebody else. They're like, man, you're doing a lot, and I'm like, it's just work, we got to get the kids everything that they deserve, and whatever that work looks like, it looks like, and so because I guess where he was from, it was just turf fields. People did the job that needed to do, and he just got to step out and coach, and make a difference that way. And
Yeah,
definitely, it sounds nice, but that's not what it looks like everywhere. And so,
yeah,
very appreciative of all the stuff that we had going. So, he had asked if he could share my story that I, kind of told him, and so, but it was really, it was about the domino effect and how it starts with one person, and then that initial domino falls, and then it kind of lets all the other ones fall. And so it really goes back to our impact as a coach, and kind of where each dominoes, right? And so we have to,
yeah.
to ignite change, and get things going. And so yeah, we were sitting at he invited us to the marriage retreat, and so if you haven't been, y'all definitely need to go. And so
It's
it was
good.
all over the place, and so we went to the one in San Antonio, and it was right there on the Riverwalk. It's a great time just for you and your spouse to, reconnect, and just, take some time with some other coaches that and their spouses that get it. And there's everywhere from your high school coaches, there's a few college coaches there, there's athletic directors there. Because sometimes, not everybody knows what it's like to be, a coach's wife or, just
That's right.
a coach's husband even. And so we're all able to kind of share our struggles and our faith and, just kind of just recharge together for another school year and just take some stuff back with us to our campus. And so, kind of at the kickoff event, they play the video and someone is like, and, video plays. And so my wife's kind of crying because she kind of like, because Marty had come up to us. He was like, hey, this video is about you. I was like, Marty, all right, let's see what you up to, Marty. And man, it was a beautiful video. And, he shared his testimony just about, just what coaches outreach means to him, but that how like there's coaches like me just throughout the state of Texas, throughout the country, that are just they're doing the same thing, and it's not about having a spotlight on you, but every once in a while you do see someone doing something and you want to, share that with others. And I was
Yeah.
very grateful that he did that. And I look over, my wife's crying, and I'm like, someone, and just like, hey, we're good, girl. We're good. Coaches outreach, like I said, is like they're great. And I think sometimes when you hear marriage retreat, they're like, well, nothing's wrong with my marriage. I don't need to go marriage retreat. And it's
Yeah.
not about that at all, right? Because there's people there, there's spouses there, there's husband and wives there that are 20, 30 years solid, right? Like they've gotten through it. And then, there's newlyweds that are great. And there's a couple that are going through some bumpy patches. And
That's
so we
right.
all kind of lean on each other. But I think more than anything is like they allow you to just kind of get close with the Lord. They bring in some great guest speakers. They give you time to just go be a couple on your own without the kids in trail, so to say.
Yeah.
So it's just a great time. They got good food, good music. Like it's like again, again, I don't want to put the plug in there, but Coach's Outreach, I'll go.
You go ahead, man. Go ahead. Because I'm gonna ask you in just a few minutes, just advice that you have, and that fits right into, advice that you'd have for young coaches or coaches that are or people that are thinking about getting into the profession. So yeah, you give all the plugs you want, man. We're here to soak up the wisdom of Joey Saxe, man. The greatness that is Joey Saxe. Yeah, I have one other question though. Before we get back, we'll try to get back to that. You'll help me because of your young mind. But you talked about feeling called. Like I could talk to you about your feeling called to being a coach first, but I don't know how long you felt like a call to being an athletic director. But what was the pull for you towards athletic director?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess love coaching, love the X's and O's. Nothing like assembling a staff and bringing kids together for a common cause and serving your community. Like it's just, man, it gets you excited, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like there's nothing better. But then the athletic director position, and sometimes you're like, oh, well, you got to coach for so long to get into
Mm.
those jobs. But it's like, man, like I just felt like there was a calling within me to like, man, like this like some and like I'm over 40, so it's like I don't want to say I'm young, but it's like, maybe younger
Well,
some,
you hang out with me, you're young, hang out with the
it's
old
just
people.
uh but yeah, no, it's just like I wanted some fresh ideas, but then just like going in to help some of these younger coaches and even the older ones, but just kind of build bridging that gap between, because right now, like our
Mm.
coaches on average, the new ones that enter the profession, you're looking at 3 to 5 years max, and then they're out, and so
Ooh,
it's like you don't want to turn around and then there's nobody there anymore, right?
right.
Like, hey, we're, like, so how do you help that? And so I think you got to go in, you got to be supportive. You got to have kind of some of those, like I said, I don't want to say tough conversations, but just like helping them understand the path to where they want to go, right? Because I think sometimes it's like, hey, I'm fresh out of college, I'm ready to be a head coach. And it's like,
Right.
I thought the same thing too. But it's just, going in and just, being great at wherever you are and then just using your strength. And so, but now not only do I get to just assemble like a great staff just, at my campus, like I'm helping assemble great staffs at 6 of our high schools, like 9 of our middle schools, like
Yeah.
in, um, helping out. Like I'm over a lot of the middle school footballs, which is where a lot of it starts, right? Where you're teaching
Yeah.
communication, you're teaching coaches patience, you're teaching them how to develop all skills. And so then when they get to our high schools, like there's just, it's just a true flow, And so then
Yeah.
most all of high school basketball, both boys and girls. And so just kind of
Wow.
helping that aspect of it. And I'm also over track and cross country. And so like it's just from one season to the next season to the next season. And but you're highlighting your coaches, you're visiting with them and hey, when I was, in your position, when I had that parent meeting. And so it's a
Yeah.
lot of that and I enjoy that. I don't have anybody knocking on my door right now. Hey, coach this, hey, coach. And I do miss that, right? So
Yeah.
that, but my phone rings a lot now, right? Where coaches on other campuses and they're asking. And so, but, and I'm always like one, like I got to get out of the office. I got to go, see it from our coaches' lenses at their school. So I know how to serve them better. Right.
Yeah.
And, being present at the games and just, I guess it's really, and I come from, working at a Title I school for 15 years, or maybe we didn't have enough, and so you have that voice, and there is some of that here, and there it is everywhere, right? Where
Mm.
it just
Yeah.
we just don't have the resources anymore in public education, that we did,
Mm.
maybe a couple decades ago. But it's
Yeah.
so we're trying to make it the best experience possible for all athletes. I think
Yeah.
that's my big thing because of how much athletics changed my life and gave me opportunities. Going through, separated household, like sports was my consistent every single day. Like I knew I had a
Mm.
coach that was going to be there, that was going to coach me up. I had kind of my escape, so to say, from maybe some of the hardships that you go through when parents are, going through stuff like that, where
Sure.
I could be a kid, and so when I want our kids that are going through similar stuff like that, and maybe they have great households, they just want to play sports, they want to take that to the
Right.
next level, we're going to cater to all of those, right? And
Yeah.
so, but when they're there, like I want them to have the best facilities that is their campus, right? Because every campus is going to be different. There's going to be new schools, there's going to be old schools, but whatever your campus is, we're going to help it become the best version of that campus.
I love
And
it.
and then putting coaches in front of them, sharing tips and drills. And I'm not one to say, hey, you have to do it like, no, like you're a coach, be you, like do your thing, but like, if you need ideas, like I've been around some great people. I've been to a lot of, in my time, great conferences and
Yeah.
gone to lots of different coaching schools, lots of different coaching clinics, and just being a student of the game and having coached so many different sports, I'm able to kind of help, those coaches, throughout the year. And but yeah, our big thing down here is to elevate the Bay, and
I
so
like that.
we're just gonna, elevate it. Not that it wasn't great, but we're gonna continue to take greatness to another level.
Sure.
So, but yeah, so that's kind of like the call for it was really just trying to serve at a higher level to make sure our coaches had the resources,
Yeah.
all of our athletes were getting, where you do it at your campus, great, but like, how can we do it like at a bigger level? Like, there has to be a
Yeah.
bigger level of how to help more people, right? And that's just kind of where my mind took off to, which is why I wanted to get into the AD role.
Man, that's exciting. I'm really excited for Corpus Christi ISD and man, whatever God has for you with all of it. I know it's going to be good. I want to back up just a little bit, if you can give me a little bit more time, because your bio. First of all, thank you, great bio. And then immediately I butchered it and said 10 years instead of 15 years. But I am looking at paragraph 3. Under your leadership, Akins Athletics achieved 100% senior graduation rate and a 98% academic pass rate among student athletes. I know I'm backing way back up, but that is incredible. That explain what that means, because yeah, just explain it,
Uh,
but it just
that was my big thing. And, it's kind of the power of athletics, right? There's that accountability level.
mm,
And Akins High School, like it's and then probably all high schools out there, there's gonna be kids that end up dropping out for whatever reason, or
sure.
they just don't make it. And so, but when you're part of our program, it's family forever. That's what we always talked about. And that's gonna be in the good times and on the bad times, when you
Yeah.
have all A's or you're struggling to even make a C or a D to stay eligible, right?
Yeah.
But one thing I always wanted to hang my hat on because, you know, one thing I always told my athletes, like the lights, like the stadium lights, right? The lights
Yeah.
don't come forever. They turn off for all of us. We're blessed to play this game as long as God allows us to. And for some of us, that might be the end of our senior year. For some of you guys, you might have college. maybe one or two of you make it pro one day, right? But
Yeah.
eventually those lights are going to turn off
It's
and
good.
you're always going to fall back on your academics. And your academics are going to create far more opportunities in your life than sports will.
It's
And
good.
so with that, it's just, we had a lot of first generation, students that were going to go to college and be the first ones,
Wow.
which is, doesn't just change that kid's life, it changes generations beyond them. And so,
Wow.
but they don't receive that message without athletics. They don't get those
Mm.
grade checks without athletics. They don't get Coach Saxe's mandatory study hall because we're all struggling right now and we're going to stop what we're doing and we're going to go to the cafeteria. We're going to invite all of our teachers. We're going to get them
Wow.
and we're going to make it worth their time to stay after and help guys. And so
Wow.
really wanted to, because like yes, the wins and losses are great, but they're just so temporary. I don't want to be remembered for that, but I want
Yeah.
to really help them get through this or that. And I always made it a point to, like with my staff, is to, you want to hire great people first and foremost, but then I was also trying to hire people like in different content areas, and so they could help that kid. Like, I'm probably not going to be able to help you out very much in a certain subject where, hey, go to Coach Griffin, he got you on chemistry, or, go to,
Yeah.
he got you, and go to Coach Brudnick for algebra. And, there's, because our kids need that, they
Yeah.
need that go-to person where I can look at it and, I don't know, it's been a couple of years since, you know, and the way they teach math these days, it's a little different.
Right. Right.
But yeah, so it's I took a lot of pride in that, and I wanted to kind of be known for that piece because it's and if your kids aren't eligible, you ain't winning anyways. So,
Right. Right.
so let's keep them eligible all year long, and then let's get them across that graduation stage, and then let's celebrate those moments with those kids because, like I said, it's just that's the life changing part.
Yeah. I love that you're visionary, that you're also just thinking about, man, I need coaches in this area and this area so they can help out academically. That's incredible. That's just next level. A lot of us are just looking down here and you're looking much bigger at the big picture. That's incredible. And you're caring for your athletes. So 100% senior graduation rate. Just tell me what that is. I'm not in the world of education. It just sounds astounding. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, so like let's say, every year you're going to have anywhere between 25 to 40 seniors that have gone through your program all 4 years,
Yeah.
right? So pretty much we started tracking if a kid enters our program and stays with us, like they are going to
Yeah.
have a 100% graduation rate all the way through. Like there's no fall off. And so you talk about the impact and the power of athletics, like
Yeah.
it's right there. It's like now you see a kid that makes it through the freshman year, he quits life choices, this and that.
Right.
Like, sometimes they just don't make it across that stage. And so
Right.
I always wanted it to be like, and I always told the kid, like, when you leave here, you're going to have opportunities.
Yeah.
The amount of opportunities will be up to you and the work that you put in, and that could be in the classroom, that could be sports. But you're going to have opportunities and you're going to have far more opportunities the better that GPA is and better that
Yeah.
grade point is and that class rank is because, that's just a measurable that we see, when we look
Yeah.
at, college acceptance and stuff like that. And so, yeah, so, every kid that went through our program, for the 4 years there, they had, 100% across that stage. And so for
Unbelievable.
some inner city schools and that's, again, it just speaks to the volume of athletics and what coaches do on the daily.
Yeah. Yeah. That's incredible, man. I'm just thanking God. I can't believe I get to know guys like you. That's incredible, man. I'm so blessed to know you. A few more things. And I want to come back to Peanut Butter Bowl at the end, but, yeah, what a blessing. All right. Give me, we'll try, see if you can give three pieces of advice to a young coach, just, whatever it is, just whatever comes to your mind, or even just leadership if you want to keep it more broad.
Yeah, I guess, if you're just coming into the profession or maybe you're new to a different school,
Yeah.
I know we always talk about it's all about relationships, but, you really got to kind of get to know, your staff, your teachers, how you can help them, with your athletes, be visible, I think is huge, and not just at the sporting events, but, showing up on those Saturdays to, the different, school events and functions that are there
Wow.
Those principals, those administrators, they see that stuff. And then if there's district events, showing up for those as well. Supporting other athletic events where it's not just, oh, I'm just a football coach and I'm just a
Yeah.
basketball coach. Like, no, go support the softball team, the baseball team. Bring your team with you, right? Trying to build
Cool.
that culture and that community. And really just, as you sit back and you look and you assess, always just ask yourself, like, how can I make this place better than I found it? Right.
Mm.
Because,
Hmm.
I was real big with, the grass isn't always greener on the other side, but
Yeah.
where you take care of it, right? Because man, that
It's
looked good over
good.
there, but you jump that fence and nobody's taking care of it, it's gonna be dirt before you know it, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
hey, God, this is where we are. Like, what can we do to make this place even better? And yes, sometimes with limited resources, but you still just you find a way. Like, there's always someone there that willing to help, but you won't know who those people are without building those relationships.
Yeah.
Just, that's really what it all comes down to. Find you a mentor. Doesn't necessarily have to be somebody on your campus, but somebody in the profession that maybe is where you want to go. And, if it is to be like, I want to be the next OC, but, maybe I just don't have the connection with my current OC. Like, maybe there's another guy I
Yeah.
can with ideas and stuff like that. Be a student of the game for as long as you can. It's like, I know we got coaching school coming up in Houston, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're gonna be going to the athletic director stuff." I'm like, I don't know. I mean, might be going into the football sessions. I gotta stay sharp. Uh, no, but it's just you just want to be a student of the game. Like, it's just like you have to learn from everybody, and just because you learn it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be able to happen at your current place, right? Because
Yeah.
maybe kids can't run that style of offense or that style of defense. But you have that in your toolbox for maybe later on down the road, right? Or maybe it's like, man, that's a great practice plan. That looks great, but I don't have the robot tackling dummy. I don't have this, but what can I see in that drill that I do have on my campus and implement that, right? Um, and really just be intentional, find out what your kids need to develop in, and like just break it down for them. Like, that's really like,
Mm.
because sometimes you see, in this generation, you got all these, the Instagram training videos, you got the YouTube training videos, you got all these different things where, man, that looks so cool. But like, how did that work for my kids or with a group of 60? Like, do I have the resources for that? Like, and if you truly like sit there and you break it down, you can probably find a way to do that on your campus, but it's going to take that time to do that.
Okay.
Know what you're speaking when you do it, not just because you saw it out there.
Yeah.
You don't know the science behind it, or how did that help my kids get better at this, right?
Yeah.
And you don't understand the why behind it, maybe rewind just a little bit and just kind of ask yourself, like, why am I doing this? What is this going to help us get better at for tomorrow?
It's good.
But yeah, man, just, find those mentors, build those relationships, just be intentional with everything that you do, and good things will happen.
That's good stuff. Okay, one question off of that because it feels unique to me. Like if I'm going to be a ball coach, I feel like I could easily just think that's my world, the field house, the this, that. But you mentioned relationships with teachers and having them like come and help tutor after hours and everything. I just don't know that maybe they do, but I just can't imagine every coach is just thinking like, man, I really need to support these teachers that are supporting us. What describe that a little bit? That's great mindset.
Yeah, I mean, because ultimately at the end of the day, right, it's campus, it's a big family, right? They're going to have those little parts within it. You got your fine arts, you got, your robotics club, you got your ROTC. Like, we're
Yeah.
all like in our little worlds, but like the teachers are like, our kids spend more time with our teachers than they do with us most of the time, right? Because
Mm,
we get them one athletic period plus after school, but they're going to see these other teachers, just as much, every single day. And so we got to make sure that we are supporting them, and really recognizing them. I think everybody wants to feel important. They want to feel recognized. They want to feel valued.
yeah.
When you go to a job and you feel like that, it makes you want to stay. It makes you want to perform better. And so when they
Yeah.
want to perform better, that means our kids are getting better education. They're getting, better instruction, and that's what it's all about. And so, like from day one, we're helping, them unpack the car and getting their classroom set up for them just from day.
Wow.
So like from day one, like, hey, we're there to help you out,
That's awesome.
and then, like when like we would do grade checks and stuff like that and conduct checks and teachers would write little notes or they would pick up the phone call and it was really not like a, oh, I'm out to get you, but just like let's be accountable for one another. Like I'm just it's my way of checking in on you each week and making sure our teachers are good. And then we would always nominate them for certain awards throughout the year, and then when they would win, we would present it as a team type deal.
Cool.
We would get them involved with the peanut butter bowls. Like we would have teacher appreciation night where we would give them jerseys to come on the sidelines and just
Very cool.
really making it a sense of community for them. And then, just like I said, just throughout the year, you just got to find little moments to, recognize them, appreciate them, let them know like, hey, I see the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
And we would always make our players write letters to some of their teachers,
Stop it.
their teacher appreciation stuff. And yeah, do you have to take time out of athletics to do it? Yeah, you do. You have to. Like, I mean, like, or you don't. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
there's that out too. But again, just who I want to be and what I want to be known for is just really just bringing the school together to make it a better place. Because if you I don't know. Like to me, it's like, yeah, you can make it football, basketball, soccer. Like you could do that all the time, but then like really, when your kids leave, like what do they learn?
Yeah.
What do they learn? And that's really what I want to do, and that's just how to appreciate people, and sometimes you got to teach kids what that looks like, and
Yeah.
I don't know what that looks like, but I'm
That's
hoping
right.
I when I do that, it might get them recognized and in the light of somebody else, and oh man, who's this person? Like, they're doing a great job, and
Yeah.
maybe that gets them something. But yeah, no, and then so yeah, I mean, I hope that answered the
That
question.
does. That was awesome. And man, we just need some more Joey Saxes around. Excuse me. All right. We're gonna start shutting it down, winding it down. But we got to talk a little peanut butter bowl. And at the end, I'll ask because maybe I can have Scott Munson put together a little tape of just our Zoom interview, the little part where you talk about here's how you do peanut butter bowl because you've done it great. And so maybe you have some advice along those lines. But I want to just kind of at the end of our interview commend you just man, what a blessing to get to know you through Peanut Butter Bowl. And what happened was we had one school in Austin, Coach Abel's at Bowie, and he did Peanut Butter Bowl with Copper's Cove, which was great because he brought Copper's Cove in, and they've done a pretty good job. I'm joking, they've done a great job too. But Coach Abels, excuse me, was going to host a press conference. He had a vital family situation that he had to attend to, and so we needed to find a location to have our media day for Austin area, which was including more coaches and more schools, and we just didn't have anywhere to go. And so I just put it out to the coaches that had committed to doing Peanut Butter Bowl. Man, just is there somewhere we can have this? And you stepped up immediately, Coach Saxe. Man, he just took the ball and ran with it. I mean, it's just like, just the olden days when a quarterback could just hand hand the ball off to running back and just let him go for 250. I mean, it was just Coach Saxe just took it. And even, I mean, this is comical, Rittiman and I'll forever have a good laugh because we had started media days and we had them outside, as you know, in San Antonio, and people still give us a hard time for, sitting out in 100 degrees San Antonio heat, just sweating. And so when I was like, yeah, we, we got the backdrop of the football stadium. It's pretty cool. You're like, yeah. What do you think about just having it in the gym? It's a nice, gym and everything. I'm like, oh, well, anyway, thank the Lord you talked me into it. I'm a pretty slow learner. So that was our first media day inside. And now all our media days are held inside. So credit Joey Saxe for helping us out. It kind of reminds me when I was at coaching school last year, maybe the year before, and we're trying to take a selfie with me and a couple old guys. And you're like, just hand me the phone, Steve. I got you, man. Don't let the old guys take selfies. But, man, that was just the start. And then you got Akins. I mean, how many years did we get to do it together? I'm trying to think this last year in 2025, Akins wound up with over a ton of peanut butter, 2,623 jars, which was 12th in the state out of 100 Texas high schools participating. Incredible, the highest number ever. And you built it up every year. And I know it's a school that, I mean, you're going out and you're doing a lot of, getting community support and fundraising. It would have been so easy just to say, hey, Steve, I've got my hands full just trying to take care of my kids and make sure they got good uniforms and all that stuff. But you didn't do that. You said yes and just did an incredible job, and built it up every year. So just thank you. And not just Akins, you're a guy who's always about, well, who else? Man, this is a good program that helps the community, helps the kids understand that their sport is a platform to make a difference in the community. And you became our point man in Austin, not just like communicating, but like reaching out to other coaches and saying, hey, you guys got to do this. Do you want to do this? Here's how we do it. So you single-handedly, grew Austin Peanut Butter Bowl. So I thank you for that. And I know you're going to grow it in Corpus Christi as well, but you just have done a phenomenal job. So, I mentioned you guys, and just overall, I haven't even added up the numbers. I know last year we collected 46 tons worth across those 100 high schools. And going back before then, I mean, we fed well over 1 million people through Peanut Butter Bowl. Excuse me, which is really through great coaches like Joey Saxe, coaches that care. So I want to thank you personally for your contributions to Peanut Butter Bowl so far. It's been phenomenal, and I'm just really grateful for your leadership, and you've done just a great job. So having said that, what, let's say, a new coach or coach just wants to do Peanut Butter Bowl better. What are your tips and tricks, man? How did you pull it off? You collected well over a ton, 2,623 jars. How did you guys do it? What's your secret sauce?
Man, like when you say it like that sounds great. It was really, man, from the day I met you, like you get excited, about people's vision. And I'm always about, I'm a yes person, like, man, like how can we help, And so, but yeah, no, like in our program, we would always do like a one service event in the month, and we would do like one school project the next month, and then a service event and a school project. And so
Okay.
it just kind of happened to be like, man, we need like, a service event, and this was a great kind of a way. And kind of the way when I picked up the phone and talked to you, you're like, yeah, we got the helmet stickers, we got the media stuff, we got the backdrops. And so, trying to give our kids opportunities to lead,
Yeah.
this was it, right? I'm like, man, this is a great opportunity, right? First thing, like we teach them how to love, like that, like you got to love your community, but you got to know your community first. We got a lot of food insecurities in our neighborhoods. We got kids that are peanut butter kids themselves,
Yeah.
and so, but at my school, it's a unique with a spot because we have the East Side families, the West Side families, the affluent, the not affluent, and so, but they all come together, right, to be one, and like those are our greatest strength. It's like we learn from each other, right, and so
Yeah.
this allowed our kids to see that on another level, but then to serve, and so they, when you asked me like, hey, would I do it? I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Like let's get this thing. And you had also asked me though. This is where
Oh, uh-oh.
the inside thing came up because you had asked me. You were like, yeah, do you think maybe your wife would maybe come take pictures for us? And I'm like, outside, definitely not.
Okay. I
We gotta be
forgot
sweating.
that.
We gotta give my wife the props because she was like, if y'all do it inside, I'll come.
Way to go, Joy.
And if I messed up the tone, she said it in a very loving voice because man, she helped me out so much. But yeah, we were able to do it AC inside, and then I remember,
That's right.
yeah, Justin and Michelle, they were like, "You need to tell them to do this everywhere, right?" Because they're out there, they're loading and unloading, and we're sweating and we're putting in that work, and so. But yeah, no, man, going back to it, like the secret sauce, just we came up with a goal our first year. I was like, hey guys,
Mm.
first year to do it, what's the goal? They were like, 500? And I was like, cool, let's do 500, and so
Yeah.
like right at 500. And then, the kids kind of saw it on social media. They saw it was kind of cool because we were atting everybody, tagging everybody, and they saw, oh, man, you get a hat, you get to wear your jersey, you're getting to see all these other kids, like, from different schools and different communities coming together for this. man, I want to be there next year. I want to be there next year. And so they kind of took that a little bit more serious when it came to the leadership part.
Yeah.
And we like the one thing I really like to do is like connect with whoever our food bank was or the ministry was going to be, so we could see the execution of it. Like,
Yeah.
where's peanut butter going? Like, let's let our kids see that part. And
Yeah.
so to me, that created like, man, like the buy-in with their like guys, and I made our players come back and like share what you saw, share
Yeah.
what the needs were, how can we make this better? And so um, that year we just kind of did it on our own. And I was like, okay, maybe next year we can reach out to some schools and, well, like elementary schools, like our feeders, our VLC community, and
Yeah.
grow from there. And so we get to the next year and then they're like, all right, well, what's the goal this year? And they're like 1,000. I was like, all right, cool. We're going to get 1,000. And so we invited our elementary school to be a part, right? Just one of them.
Yeah.
I had several, but one of them answered the call and they said, yeah, we'll be happy to help you out. And so, and they just did just donations. Like I didn't have, like, it was just cool. So we hit like right at 1,000. And so, I was like, cool, great job, guys. We did it and, we made a difference and all that good stuff. And then the following year, I was like, man, how can we take this to like the next level? Because right now, 1,000 was tough. We had
Right.
people bringing it into the wire, and so I was like, "All right, guys, what's the next year?" I'm thinking we're going in increments of 500, right? And so I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
500." They said 2,000. I was like, "Oh my goodness, okay, here we go. We got to double what we've been doing." And what we've been doing has been great because, like we
Right.
always say, like 1 jar is great, 10 jars is fantastic. Like every jar makes a difference, right?
Right.
So, like, once you really start getting up to those numbers, and I know some of the schools that you've mentioned, like, they're getting that in times five, times 10, because it just, you make it the best you can in your own community. But, one of the secret sauces I did, as I've learned each year, like what worked, what didn't work, is, I'd always ask my players, hey, let's bring me five. You bring me five. We would get because the star kind of had five on it, and so like that was
Nice.
their buy-in on there, and so they would get their helmet sticker with the five. Oh, coach,
Nice.
we got four. Okay, cool. Like, come on, you still helping out and stuff like that. And then I have kids. Well, what if I bring 20? Does that mean I get four? And I was like, oh, just you get a star, man. Let's go. Because otherwise, I'd have some players that just had nothing but balls looking, all over. But and so then I started incorporating or really involving our cheerleaders.
Mhm.
They started, asking their groups. The volleyball team, they dedicated
Yeah.
one of their preseason matches to Peanut Butter Bowl.
Love it.
Where if they brought the jar, they got in for free, and so we were able
Nice.
to gather some of that stuff there. Our Diamond group, which is our drill team, our ROTC, just really getting other school groups
Yeah.
to kind of come together to help and kind of see.
Right.
We reached out to our teachers as well, and some of them supported it. And then back with our elementary schools, I was like, man, I just had this idea. I was like,
Yeah.
well, what if we did pizza and popsicles for peanut butter? And so what I mean by that is I said, I made this thing. I was like, all right, because, the principal, you're going to like the third year, you're like, hey, do you want to help again? And it's kind of like, not that it's like, we all do it to serve, right? And we know it makes a difference, but all right, it's a lot of work for us because we got jars and jars of peanut butter in the front office for weeks, and it's taking up
Right.
conference rooms and space and stuff like that. And I was like, well, what if we brought, the winning homeroom class? If we bought, and this comes from Coach Saxe, like I'm going to buy a pizza party for that class, and I'm going to buy popsicles for that class. And I'm going to bring the football players, the cheer team, and we're going to bring Aki, the Eagle, who's the mascot, and we're going
Love
to
it.
come and we're going to have that pizza party in your class. And she was like, cool, let's do it. And then, but at that
Wow.
we did, they have an upper campus and they have a lower campus, right? So it's like K through 3, 4 through 5. And then she was like, well, which campus? I was like, just set it up at both. We'll be okay. We'll figure it out. And so, man, she called me like the day of like the deadline. And she was like, Coach, I got parents in here. Like, you turned it in at 10:01 and the deadline's at 10 because they got so competitive. And
Right.
we got to one of the upper campuses and like one classroom had like 250, the other classroom had 251.
Oh
And
my.
they were like, well, you had this. Yeah. I'm like, guys, y'all both won. Y'all both getting pizza. Y'all both getting popsicles. Y'all both like, we gonna be just fine. Like, man, we made a difference. But man, like those feeder schools, they get competitive.
Right.
I think it's also, again, it was great for the cheer team. It was great for the football players.
Yeah.
he was out there in the mascot, just sweating it up, and kids were just high fiving and cheering, and it was really really cool. And then we were able to, kind of go and collect in all the different grade levels and just kind of high five kids in general.
That's awesome.
They loved it, and so that was definitely a secret sauce. Now, if I could do that at every elementary school, I mean, that might be the big time right there, where
Right.
probably what it takes, and not that you have to go buy pizza for everybody, but
Right.
fill popsicles and peanut butter, I'm sure you could start there.
Right.
I kind of went overboard from the start, right? So I used to start small and get bigger, but first couple of years I didn't, offer anything, but then I knew just, man, I want to make it bigger. What do kids like? They like pizza,
Yeah.
and they like popsicles, and they like the mascots, and they like the football players to come visit. And
Right.
so it was great. And so we were able to raise pretty much, what we were picking up on the campus. They were matching us at the
Right.
elementary, and then of course, your online platform that you guys have is fantastic. And the way you guys have that set up, it's super easy. So whenever you do, post it and share it, people are able to come in. And I would share that, I'm kind of old, right? So we share it on Facebook, right? And so my players would share it on, Instagram, and they probably share it on TikTok and stuff like that.
Probably.
Just all the different platforms that you can reach to people across the state, that want to support. And I would have people like, I had family up in, the Northeast, and they were like, hey, I donated 10 jars. Hey, and
Wow.
people out in California, hey, I put 10 jars in there. And so, you know,
Cool.
people want to support you, in different ways. And, when you're able to do that, like I said, every jar counts. And then we would just kind of set it as a program goal each year. Like, we're going to beat that, right? Just
Yeah.
like any season, like you want to do better than last season.
Right.
So with peanut butter ball, we're going to do better this season than we did last season. Record wise, we're going to do better this season than we did last season. And so I think as long as you have that competitive mindset, it makes stuff happen.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, great job. And again, thank you. You could, even there, you could have just been, well, this is about Akins, but no, you grew it, throughout Austin. And I know you're going to grow out throughout Corpus Christi as well. So just, man, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your heart. Thank you for your faith in God. Thank you for your love for the kids and for the coaches and just making a better community and better experiences. It's really, really awesome. So anything else you want to say just before I close this out? This has been great, Joey. I'm really, man, glad we finally got this interview.
Yeah, no, first off, just thank you for everything that you do and just your vision that you had. And man, you just make a difference in so many people's lives. And we might not necessarily be able to see them all, but we feel it in our heart that we know like what it can do. Just to see the way you've grown this, the peanut butter bowl, it's just been, I'm just blessed to be a small part of it.
A big
Because
part of it. A big part of it. I mean, and that's how we
you are
grow
the
as
big
coaches,
platform.
coaches like you, it's
Yeah, no, and
coaches like
there's
you.
so many out there, and I've met so many great coaches and like-minded people through this.
Yeah.
I call it a ministry, because it's, we have a
Yeah.
call trying to serve others. And, I know without you, I wouldn't have been able to have a lot of these connections that I do now. And so, again, that goes back to, the young coaches out there. Like, if there's a need, like, answer that call. Like, you never know, like,
Yeah.
where it's going to take you, who you're going to meet through it. And so, just, thank you for just being that consistent person every single year, setting up our week one games and just all the, and I say setting them up, it's like, we're getting excited to, play each other in the name of the Peanut Butter Bowl. And, man, y'all do a great job making our graphics. Like, you have a great team. I've
That is true.
just got to meet your team over the years, and just
Yeah.
the way that they serve, and the
Hmm.
love they have for it. And you guys just match that mentality of like, this life is not about me or us, but what we can
Yeah.
do for others. And so, just to, meet people like that is it's truly special. And so, but for all my coaches out there that are listening, we got a job to do. We got to beat our scores from next year. And, we're all going to be enemies across from each other on that Friday night, but man, we're family every other day in between. And let's just make sure our kids are, knowing the true importance of, why we play, and, and what we can teach them through the game that we all love.
It's good. It's good. All right. Well, Joey Saxe, that's Coach Saxe, man. What a winner. What a difference maker. Love this guy. Honored and blessed to know him and to know Joy and Easton. And it's always a treat when we did all the Austin media days and Easton is putting on his hat, his peanut butter bowl hat, and Joy's taking photographs for us. And it's just been incredible, great family. And we love you all and are grateful for you. And and I'll just remind our listeners and our viewers, just man, what Coach Saxe is very bold. Saying yes to things that sometimes are hard or this or that. I mean, that's very bold. And that comes from a place of recognizing how great God is. I mean, I hope you heard that story, that miracle story of Easton and God's faith and God's goodness. And I pray that you're feeling that today with whatever you're facing. If you're feeling like you're facing a mountain, or if you feel like you're facing just a little hill that you got to overcome, whatever it is, I'm telling you, Jesus is for you. He is the one who can come through. And it doesn't always look like the miracle that you're asking for, but I promise, I mean, they didn't want to have Easton in NICU and extra stuff for 100 days. I mean, that is not what you sign up for, but God was faithful. God brought them through. God made them stronger, and he wants to make you stronger too. So we are Very Bold Ministries. We are Very, Very Bold Radio and Podcast. One day I was just reading a scripture and it just jumped out at me. We are to be very bold. So I'll sign off this way. 2 Corinthians 3:12, it says, "Therefore, since we have such a hope, we are very bold."
Very Bold Radio and Podcast with your host, Steve Teel, bringing encouragement through God's Word and through inspiring interviews. Go to verybold.com for information and updates, and email steve@verybold.com.